The xenobiology research station on Cathera 7 had seen many strange phenomena, but nothing quite prepared the staff for what happened the day Dr. Mara Talon collapsed in the containment habitat. She had been working with the Catheran apex predators for 8 months now, 2 juveniles rescued from a poaching ring. The species was legendary across 17 systems. 4-meter-long quadrupeds with obsidian scales, retractable claws that could shred titanium, and a hunting instinct so refined that even experienced xenobiologists refused to work with them. The Catherans were efficient killers, evolved predators that sat at the absolute top of their planet's food chain. Most research facilities wouldn't even consider housing them. But Mara had seen something else in the cubs she'd named Rick and Sarah: intelligence, curiosity, and perhaps, against all scientific reasoning, the capacity for something resembling trust. The other researchers thought she was reckless. Dr. Kovac, the station director, had warned her repeatedly about spending unsupervised time in the habitat, but Mara had grown up on a farm on Terra's Australian continent, raised alongside creatures that most urbanites feared. She understood predators. She respected them. And crucially, she never pretended to be anything other than what she was: smaller, weaker, and infinitely more vulnerable. The fever had come suddenly. One moment she was documenting Rick's hunting patterns, the next her vision blurred and her legs gave out. She felt the impact of the habitat's artificial ground against her shoulder, heard her datapad clatter away. Through the haze of consciousness, she registered Sarah's distinctive chirping call, sharp and urgent. Then everything went dark. When Station Medical Officer Chen received the emergency alert from Mara's biosensor, he grabbed his kit and ran. The habitat was 3 corridors away. He made it in 90 seconds, already calling up her vitals on his wrist display. Severe fever, elevated heart rate, possible infection. She needed immediate treatment. He reached the habitat's reinforced observation window and stopped dead. Dr. Mara Talon lay unconscious on the habitat floor. And standing over her, forming a protective barrier with their bodies, were Rick and Sarah. The cubs had positioned themselves on either side of her prone form, their scaled bodies tense, heads low, eyes fixed on the entrance. Every line of their posture screamed one message: nothing approaches. Chen had seen predator behavior his entire career. This wasn't aggression. This was guarding behavior. These apex hunters, barely a year old, had appointed themselves her protectors. "Command, this is Chen." He spoke into his comm. "We have a situation in Habitat 7. Dr. Talon is unconscious and the Catherine subjects are exhibiting protective behavior. I need backup and possibly sedation authorization." "Negative on sedation," came Kovac's voice. "Those cubs are irreplaceable research subjects. Find another way." Chen stared through the reinforced glass. Mara's fever was climbing. She needed treatment within the next 20 minutes or she'd risk permanent damage. He couldn't wait for another solution. He took a breath and opened the habitat door. Immediately, both cubs' heads snapped toward him. Sarah released a sound he'd never heard before, a deep subsonic rumble that he felt in his chest. Rick moved to place himself between Chen and Mara, his obsidian scales bristling, claws extending with a metallic whisper. Chen froze. "Easy," he said quietly, though he knew they didn't understand Terran standard. "I'm here to help her." Rick's lips pulled back, revealing rows of serrated teeth designed to tear through prey 3 times his size. The cub was barely adolescent but already massed close to 200 kilograms of pure predatory power. One strike would be fatal. Chen slowly crouched, making himself smaller, less threatening. He set his medical kit on the ground and slid it forward, then retreated 2 steps. A peace offering. A demonstration of intent. Sarah approached the kit cautiously, sniffed it, then looked back at her brother. Some silent communication passed between them. Rick didn't move from his position over Mara. "She's sick," Chen said softly, maintaining eye contact. "Sick, like when you both had the scale rot last month. Remember, Mara helped you. She made you better." He didn't know if they understood his words or just his tone, but something shifted. Sarah chirped again, softer this time. She moved to Mara's head and gently nuzzled her face, a behavior Mara had noted in her research as a bonding gesture between cubs and their parents. "That's right," Chen continued. "She helped you. Now I need to help her, please." The moment stretched impossibly long. Then Rick, the larger and more aggressive of the two, took one deliberate step sideways, not away from Mara, but creating a narrow gap, an invitation, or perhaps a test. Chen moved slowly, every motion telegraphed and unthreatening. He retrieved his kit and approached the gap. Rick's eyes tracked his every movement, and Chen could feel the cub's breath on his neck as he knelt beside Mara. His hands shook slightly as he administered the anti-fever injection and began scanning for the infection source, bacterial contamination, from an improperly sterilized equipment case. Treatable, thank the stars. He set up a portable IV, working under the unwavering supervision of two apex predators who could end him with a casual swipe. As the medication began to work and Mara's vitals stabilized, something unexpected happened. Sarah approached Chen's side and lay down next to Mara's head, her body curled protectively. Then Rick did the same on the opposite side. They weren't just allowing him to work. They were including him in their protective circle. When Mara's eyes finally fluttered open an hour later, her first sight was Chen finishing his work, flanked by two predator cubs who had apparently decided he was trustworthy enough to remain in their presence. "What?" she managed weakly. "They wouldn't let anyone near you," Chen said, his voice filled with wonder. "Not until they understood we were trying to help. Mara, I've worked with alien species for 15 years. I've never seen anything like this. They bonded with you. Actually bonded. An apex predator species that evolution designed to be solitary hunters. And they chose a human as their pack." Mara reached out a trembling hand, and Sarah immediately pressed her scaled head into it, producing a low, contented rumble. Rick watched with those intelligent, calculating eyes, then did something that made Chen's scientific mind reel. The cub reached out with one massive paw and gently touched it to Chen's arm. Recognition, acceptance, gratitude. "Perhaps humans," Kovach's voice crackled over the comm, having watched everything from the security feeds. "You people keep doing the impossible and calling it Tuesday." Mara smiled weakly, her fingers stroking Sarah's scales. "They're not pets, Director. They're family, and family protects its own." In the end, that became the breakthrough that changed xenobiology forever, not through force or domination, but through trust. Because humans, those strange, persistent primates from a blue world, had a peculiar gift. They could see the individual behind the instinct, the person behind the predator. And sometimes, against all logic and evolutionary programming, the predator could see it too. The cubs had stood guard. They had granted permission. And in doing so, they had proven what Mara had always believed, that connection transcends species, and loyalty knows no evolutionary boundaries.